Hi, frostBeule here. Now that the year is soon over, I thought I'd make a video where I try to summarize a bit what's happened this year when it comes to my team and myself. So let's start with the team results. And first tournament of the season was ESL Competition Premiership 10 in February, where we and Team Acer had a pretty good group stage phase and ended up first. Then in the semi-final we got to play against 3D Max, which turned out to be not too hard, and we found ourselves in yet another final against Dignitas. And while we did defeat them last time we met in the Team T final the previous year, this time they proved to be a bit stronger than us. Although the total score of the final was 4-0 in their favor, the match was closer than it seemed, starting with the 1 vs 1 where Massa came back and eventually defeated Royal with a 9-7 score. Then me and Vinny did get crushed in the 2 vs 2 against Carl Jr. and Nugget, but the 3 vs 3 was another close affair where we lost with a 7-5 score. Next up after this tournament was Team Masters Team Cup in March, which the previous year was very disappointing for us as we went out in the quarterfinals already, losing against Gamed. But this time it went much better for us, and in fact we did not lose a single map against teams like Big3, 3D Max and Rule Them All until the final, where we once again would face Dignitas. But sadly for us, we yet again fell short against them, and this time lost with a 2-0 score, losing with 7-5 on the first map and 7-4 on the second. ESL Competition Premiership 11 would be played next, starting in May, and this time we actually finished only third in the group stage as Big3 won the group ahead of Dignitas. Since Dignitas and Team Acer got second and third, this meant that we would already meet each other in the semi-final, and one of the teams would not make it to the final for once. Since Dignitas had defeated us in the 2 previous team tournaments, they were definitely seen as the favorites coming into this match. Massa would once again play the 1 vs 1 for Dignitas, and for us we put up Poker, who did amazingly well in this 1 vs 1 and defeated Massa with a 7-4 score. Dignitas, however, could tie up the score in the 2 vs 2, but in the 3 vs 3, Team Acer managed to win with a 7-4 score, which put us in a pretty good mental state for the 5 vs 5. This meant Dignitas were forced to win the last sub-match to force a decider 5 vs 5, but instead we managed to win with another 7-4 score, finally defeating Dignitas and moving on to the final. This was a great victory for us as we hadn't won against Dignitas for a while, and it really made us confident for the grand final, which would be against Big3. The final didn't start off that great for us though, as we lost the 1 vs 1 this time, with Tala defeating Poker with a 7-4 score. But for once we did win the 2 vs 2 instead in a very close 6-4 score, and then we were also able to win the 3 vs 3 and 5 vs 5 with scores of 7-5 and 7-2, making us the champions. Attached to the ESL CPS 11 season was also the ESL Country Championship. This tournament between nations was played a couple of years ago and was brought back this year by ESL. What's special about it is that it combines tech, dirt and speed players into one team. I got to represent Sweden in this tournament playing tech, and we managed to reach the playoffs very narrowly as second place in the group stage behind France and just ahead of the Netherlands. Then in the playoffs we managed to defeat Germany in the semi-final, which put us against our biggest rivals France in the grand final. Starting the final on tech, we took a lead by winning with a 7-5 score, but then France completely smashed us on the full speed map, winning with a 7-0 score, which put us in a very tough situation coming into the dirt map. And although we did manage to win with a 7-6 score on the dirt map, France took home the win with an 18-14 score. Despite getting second though, this was still quite a fun tournament, and I hope to see it return again. After this, starting in September, was the 5th edition of TM Tournament, where we and Team Acer were looking to defend our title from last year. Group stage was no problem, but in the playoffs we did have some trouble in the round of 16, where we almost lost against Druids, who really gave us a tough fight and took one map from us. Then the semi-final was a repeat of the ESL CPS 11 final, as Big3 would be our opponents, who earlier had eliminated Dignitas from the tournament. But we managed to defeat them again, this time with a 2-0 score, so that we proceeded to the grand final with a chance to defend our title once more. The final was against Team Hot, who started off the match great and took a lead on the first map with a 3-1 score. But that actually turned out to be the last round that we lost, as we then proceeded to turn the match around to our favor, winning the first map with a 7-3 score, and then in the second map we won with a clean 7-0 score, making it so we had succeeded in defending our title again. For individual results, I was successful in Team Masters True Talent Cup, which I managed to win in the 3rd edition, and then also in Team Masters Knockout Race, where I became the overall champion after 6 races. But I also had some very disappointing results this year, especially in Gamers Assembly, which was the only offline event I attended. I ended up only reaching the loser bracket final in this event, which probably was my worst individual performance I've ever had throughout the years. For many various and unfortunate reasons, I felt like I couldn't play at my best at the event, which was really frustrating for me as a competitor. Anyway, if you want to read more about this event, I wrote a lengthy blog post about it on Team Acer's website that may be worth checking out. So that's the results, which overall I'm pretty satisfied with. Now for other stuff that I did this year, I'd like to mention that I started writing match reports for all our team matches, which you can also find on Team Acer's website. This is something I really enjoyed writing and something I'll definitely continue doing. I've also started focusing a lot on streaming on Twitch TV, as well as making YouTube videos this year. Beginning with streaming, besides my normal practice streams, I've also started to cast a lot of matches, which I found to be a lot of fun and rewarding, and definitely something I want to do more of. And then besides esports, I've also been doing some speedruns of various games, which for sure we'll see more of as well. For my YouTube channel, I've started adding content other than highlights from my stream, such as Let's Plays or TM News, which is my weekly news show I started where I cover everything Fragmania. So far the response for this show has been great, and it's even featured now in-game of Mania Planet, which is pretty awesome. So for next year I'll definitely continue making these videos and try to come up with even more content. Ending off this year in review video, I'd like to talk a bit about ESWC. Some of you may have seen already that I made a video going through my history with ESWC, and I'm not really going to repeat what I said in that video here, so if you want to hear more about why exactly I'm boycotting ESWC, I definitely recommend watching that video. But what I do want to say is that now that the year is over, we can say that ESWC were lying when last year in October they said in a press release they were, and I quote, proud to announce that the non-paid prizes of 2008 following the bankruptcy of game services will be paid to their beneficiaries under budget for the year 2013. This was obviously a lie, seeing as I still haven't been paid my prize money. So what's safe to say is that my boycott of ESWC will continue, and it will only grow stronger from this point on. And in the next year I plan to be even more vocal about it. So that's my summarize. All in all, I think it's been a pretty good year, and I'd like to thank everyone for your support that you show me. It really helps me continue doing everything I do. Also, I'd like to thank Team Acer for the support they continue to give me and my team. And lastly, I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. See ya!